What's up everyone, my name is Josh and this is Josh Unbox, and welcome back to the Daily Grind, a video series in which I talk about particular cards, plays, strategy, news, and how it affects the overall sports card markets. In other words, I'm just trying to find a way to help us navigate through the craziness that is the sports card world today, as well as to help us make much more sound purchasing and selling decisions. And today, I want to tackle on the topic of the off season. Is there a dip? Now, when I first started making this YouTube channel, when I first started going full steam with the content every day, I came out with a video a long time ago talking about buying during the off season and how it's the perfect time to buy because that's when the dips happen. Now, I don't know anymore, right? I don't know if that's a sound strategy anymore because, it's a trend that's been happening for so long. And I think if you've collected cards for quite some time, then you would know that during the off season is usually the best time to buy because the demand is not really there. However, in today's current state of the sports card market, we have a whole eclectic group of people. We have collectors, investors, and flippers, right? If everyone has the same thought of buying during the off season, because the whole idea is buy during the dip, sell during the peak, right? Then does a dip really happen? Think about this, because as you're looking at the football card market, right, you're seeing that a lot of people are starting to buy into football now, and it's starting to heat up. So in the conventional sense of buying during the off season because the prices are a little lower is kind of not really happening. I think we had a small window of opportunity. Let's say football season ended in February, March, April. You only had a 2-month window or a 1-month window of anything to actually start buying football cards, because as everyone starts thinking now buying into the off season, it's one of the biggest trends if you want to buy during the dip and sell at the peak. So everyone's thinking the same thing. When everyone is thinking the same thing, demand increases. When there's an increase in demand, we don't really see that dip. And it's something that I saw in baseball as well, where baseball started earlier. Like in January, we started seeing the baseball market heat up. And that was like 3 months before the season actually started. Here in football, we're like 5 months before the season actually starts and it's already heating up. So everyone is really following the trend of buying during the off season. So where do we go from here? Well, the way I think about it is that maybe what's happening is that everything is shifting. If you think about the peaks and valleys, right? If there's never a valley or a dip in the off season, then the dip has to happen somewhere. It has to happen somewhere. And my thought process is this. I think the dip happens now during the playoffs for teams that are eliminated or no longer part of the playoff picture. Rather than thinking the traditional sense of buying right when the season ends, right? We should start thinking about particular players and when their season ends. So for example, if we're going to use the NBA for example, let's think about Steph Curry. The moment the Golden State Warriors are out of the playoff picture, may be a good time to start buying into his cards or start looking at it. Maybe those cards will dip because now as everybody is excited for the NBA playoffs and the hype is there, and if the Warriors are no longer part of the picture, the demand for his cards might not be there. So that's one opportunity to buy. And I think that off-season shifts to there. I know, just a thought in my head as we try to navigate through the craziness that is the sports card world of today. We have a bunch of people in the sports card market. We have a big collection of collectors, flippers, investors, all rolled into one. And as everyone is trying to buy in the dip and sell at the peak, like I said, I think I said this in one of my older videos, in which I said, if everyone is thinking the same thing, we don't see peaks and valleys. If we see the demand increase during the dip actually doesn't happen. The price rises because everyone is competing with each other to try to buy a card at a good deal. Then we run into a flat line. Everything doesn't go up all the time, but a dip has to happen somewhere. I think the off-season dip has shifted to the playoffs. And that's one area that I'm going to particularly pay attention to, especially during these NBA playoffs, and see what happens. I'm going to be quite curious to see if some of these guys' cards actually start dipping during that time. And that may be the best time to buy, because as soon as we hit the offseason, we have a small window of opportunity now, because as everyone is focused on off-season mode, I suspect that we have about a month to buy during the off-season. And the thing is that if we don't give these cards an opportunity to breathe and dip, we may never see a dip, right? People are going to wait to see if a card starts dipping, and the percentage of the dip isn't going to be as prominent as it was before, because as soon as there's a slight dip, people are going to jump on and buy into those cards. Those are just my thoughts. I just wanted to talk about how I feel that the off season has shifted. I think the off season has shifted from our traditional sense in the off season of when the season ends to during the playoffs. I think it's a great opportunity to buy into cards, especially, buy into modern sports cards. So those are just my thoughts, my opinions. Whether you agree or disagree, comment down below. If you found some value in this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. And with that being said, my name is Josh, and I'll see you guys in the next video later.